In 1973, crooner Bobby Darin headed in for a routine dental checkup, but man, it all went south fast. After a frenzy of docs, emergency surgery, and some gut-wrenching phone calls, Darin was gone at just 37. And yeah, it was kind of his own goof-up. Bobby Darin had a life packed with highs, lows, and some seriously twisted family skeletons. From his rough-and-tumble start in East Harlem, Manhattan, born into a tight-knit Italian-American crew that later bounced to the South Bronx, to his rocket ship rise as a singer and actor, it was one hell of a wild, way too short joyride. Bobby Darin came into the world as Walden Robert Casoto on May 14, 1936. When he was only 8, docs hit him with a rheumatic fever diagnosis that wrecked his heart bad. The prognosis? Brutal. They figured the kid had maybe a couple years tops. With Darin's health hanging by a thread, his family went all out, spoiling him rotten. They dubbed him the little king around the house and babied him like crazy. No surprise, it turned him into a bit of a self-centered hotshot. Feeling death knocking early, plus all that nonstop love from the fam, lit a fire under him to grab life by the horns. He crushed it as a straight-A student, but he later spilled that classmates ragged on him, leaving him feeling like a total outsider, which is why he dove headfirst into showbiz to boost that ego. Darin's big dream? Rocking the music world. One hitch, his name. He snagged Darin out of thin air, or so the story goes, from a busted neon sign at a Chinese joint that read Darin Duck instead of Mandarin Duck. Life threw curveballs at first, though. Demo after demo tanked hard, but the guy was tough as nails and kept grinding. Boom! 1958 rolls around and he drops Splish Splash. That bop flew off the shelves, selling 1 million copies overnight. Darin's big break? Check. He hustled to keep the momentum, teaming up with fresh faces for collab vibes and more chart toppers. Fate had his back, nudging him towards someone who clicked big time, up-and-comer Connie Francis. They were supposed to co-write tunes, both on the cusp of stardom, but not quite there. Together, pure dynamite. They were glued at the hip, and yeah, that creative spark ignited into full-on romance. She called him the love of her life, no exaggeration, and nothing could kill that vibe. She once busted him in bed with 2 groupies and just shrugged it off. Darin craved that larger-than-life glow. He'd hole up in the studio for hours, nitpicking every riff and rhyme till it was perfection city. The dude's perfectionism was off the charts because he aimed to be a straight-up icon. In 1959, not 56 like some mix-ups say, he made his TV splash on the Dorsey Brothers stage show, kicking off a killer multi-hyphenate run that amped up his swagger even more. That cocky streak earned him a rep as a bit of a snob, and it nearly torched a solid friendship. He strutted like he owned the joint, but not everyone dug it. Take Sammy Davis Jr., another legend, who finally snapped, telling Darin, "Hit me up when you quit playing king so we can hang again," and peaced out for good. Not all pals felt that burn, though. George Burns, the comedy vet who handed Darin his first real gig, saw right through the bluster to the softy underneath. With buddies bailing over his ego trips, Darin leaned hard into Burns' orbit. Over time, it bloomed into this sweet father-son bond. So when Burns hit rock bottom, Darin was right there, no questions asked. 1964 was a heartbreaker for Burns. His wife Gracie passed, leaving him gutted and lost. Darin stepped up big, crashing in Burns' room for nights on end, just being that rock. The guy was a wizard at patching up folks' messes, even as his own life was a hot mess. Not one to stick to tunes alone, post-TV debut, Darin jumped into movies, itching to flex on the silver screen. And damn, he delivered. He landed a meaty role in Come September, co-starring with Sandra Dee, that fresh-faced girl-next-door star who'd already blown up. Little did he know, sparks were about to fly, or crash. Darin swore it was love at first sight both ways. But Dee, she spilled a different tea. To her, he came off as a total arrogant jerk, and she wanted 0 parts. But Darin wasn't backing down. He'd scored everything else in life, why not her? Smart move. He charmed Dee's mom into Team Darin, begging her to nudge Dee toward a date. Boom, it landed. First outing? A horse-drawn carriage ride that flipped the script. Darin's raw honesty melted her walls, and next thing you know, Dee's catching feelings too. By film's end, they were all smooches and giggles on set. December 1960. Wedding bells were ringing in their heads, but that fairy tale glow, it'd be the last bright spot in a marriage headed for the ditch. On December 16, 1961, their boy Dodd, Mitchell Darin, arrived, making them a trio. Too bad the kiddo showed up just as the cracks widened. The Darin D-pad turned toxic quick, but Darin was clueless, still chasing the party high and dragging her along. Dodd later dished that Dad expected Mom primped and pumped for every shindig with his crew. Dee started griping. Darin treated her like arm candy, not a real partner. She was overkilling time at his gigs, then twiddling thumbs while he bar-hopped with the boys till dawn. Feeling caged, Dee turned to the bottle for kicks. That booze-fueled haze wrecked their marriage and their careers. They'd sabotage each other just to feel alive. Darin gaslit her into breakdowns, while Dee hit back by ripping his style like snarking his toupee was lopsided right before showtime. Darin's paranoia peaked over Dee's set buddies. Since they sparked on a movie, why not her and some other heartthrob? Cue Tammy and the Doctor. Darin lost it every time she chatted with co-star Peter Fonda. By 1963, jealousy ate him alive. He blew up, demanding divorce over proof that was pure smoke. Dee was pissed and heartbroken, denying it all till he backed off. They patched it, sorta, with Darin playing super dad and chill hubby. But that green-eyed monster kept clawing back. One bash, he flipped over her yakking with Warren Beatty. Too chicken to man up, he sicked his shrink on her. It's over. Divorce papers flew, and that was that. Then came 1968, Darin's personal hell year. It kicked off buzzing. He dove into politics, stumping hard for Bobby Kennedy's White House run. The two bonded deep. Kennedy was Darin's North Star, pulling him into the activist game. Then tragedy struck. He was on the trail, one of Kennedy's last chats before the assassination gutted him. To cope, he buried himself in fresh tracks, but RFK's hit haunted him. He reportedly camped out by the coffin all night before the funeral. Same brutal year, another bombshell dropped. The family whopper. Turns out Mom Nina was just 17 when she had him and faked him as his kid bro to dodge scandal. Grandma Vivian played mom his whole life. Nina finally fessed up, shattering Darin. Questions piled up, especially, who's dad? She clammed up, leaving him spinning. And get this, for decades, it stayed a ghost story. But in 2020, DNA sleuthing finally nailed it. His bio dad was Emilio Milton Lepore, a low-level mob guy who kicked the bucket before Bobby even drew breath. Wild closure, way after the fact. Darin's ticker, always a ticking bomb since kid days, and all this drama just revved the damage. By the 70s, he was fading fast, lonely, beat down. He crawled back to Dee, who clocked his decline and stuck around despite the baggage. But 1970 brought round two at love. Andrea Yeager, a down-to-earth secretary who wanted zilch from his fame. Buddies raved she was solid gold, and Darin fell stupid hard. After a year of meds and nasty side gigs, docs laid it out. Heart valve swap stat. January 1971, he gutted through the implant. A brutal op with months of hellish rehab. Waking up, fresh slate. He hit the stage again. Yeager his rock. Word is he guzzle oxygen mid-set some nights, but she was all in. That loyalty made him bet on love again. Summer 1973, they tied the knot. Happily ever after? Nah. 4 months in, his health tanked their bliss. Andrea tapped out in October. Divorce City. At 37, second strike, and fate wasn't done kicking. That fall, Darin blew it big time. Dental visit. Forgot his heart-protecting antibiotics. Boom. Bloodstream infection hit like a freight train. Sepsis ranging, ticker on the ropes. Hospital bound December 11th, 1973. Round 2 surgery. Unlike 71, it bombed. Bobby Darin flatlined in recovery. 37 years young, the crooner's curtain call. Tragedy dogged him post-mortem too. 2004, not 2008. Universal Studios' Vault Fire torched masters of his hits, plus tons more Legends work. Ouch. Darin flipped the script with Dream Lover, the Bobby Darin musical, unpacking Dad's rocky loves and giving the man his due, flaws, heart, et al. If you dug this Timeless Voices deep dive, smash that like button and subscribe for more untold stories.
Oh, and don't sleep on our last vid. It's a must-watch. The hidden truth about Corey Haim that'll blow your mind.